It'll make you all press that little button that says that you know that I'm recording. All right, so I'm placing my hands on my heart, taking in that deep cleansing breath of love and gratitude. So grateful for this opportunity to come together, to be the two or more gathered in the name and the nature of love. So grateful for our willingness to live the teachings of Jesus through A Course in Miracles and just live a life of love, loving ourselves and loving all others, knowing that we are one. We're grateful for our mighty companions that are joining us during our conversation, that are blessing us, blessing the conversation, blessing everyone here and all who may listen later. We're grateful for their blessings, and we are so grateful to be able to share them with everyone because we are one. In grace and divine gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. So we are in the Manual for Teachers, section 1, who are God's teachers? And I'm going to start us off with paragraph 3, because that's what spoke to me. There is a course for every teacher of God. The form of the course varies greatly. So do the particular teaching aids involved. But the content of the course never changes. Its central theme is always God's Son is guiltless, and in his innocence is his salvation. It can be taught by actions or thoughts, in words or soundlessly, in any language or in no language, in any place or time or manner. It does not matter who the teacher was before he heard the call. He has become a savior by his answering. He has seen someone else as himself. He has therefore found his own salvation and the salvation of the world. In his rebirth is the world reborn. And the notes I made on either side of that were, we all have our unique journey. This is why we cannot judge anyone or anything as good or bad. Everything is for the good of our journey. Yeah. So you just never know what you're going to learn or what you're going to teach in any given situation. But as long as we are interested in being a demonstration of love, then we are absolutely teaching what Jesus has been teaching us. Who else would like to share what they got? Go ahead, Carla.
So that the whole look, and I say look, but what that means, I've discovered what that means. That means I think it's important. I want to be heard. Actually, I want to be heard. But I started with the Manual for Teachers. I don't know why. So, and I was led to that third paragraph again, but I stopped sooner. I stopped with, so do the particular teaching aids, which is every experience we have is a teaching aid. Phoenix is a teaching aid, New Kitty is a teaching aid. This, it doesn't seem like it, but this experience with the house and the renter and the whatever it is, I don't think he was intending on helping me. But and sometimes I get caught up in believing the meaning the mind gives this particular experience. And I am becoming more diligent and noticing that when I'm getting off track and heading back to love. And it's not love for Adam or whoever was here, it's love for myself. And it does go to him because we are one, and I don't see myself like ever doing this to a house, but I can see myself in this experience where where I have started a lot of conversations with focused on what I want instead of saying, "Hi, how you doing today?" or something common courtesy, whatever. I was so focused on what I wanted to get to. I was afraid I would get distracted by stuff and never get to what I wanted. And so I really see this experience and every experience. Look, maybe the details may be a little different. The specifics of it may be a little different. But it's always, everything is, the learning is all the same. That's what this is saying. That maybe it doesn't look exactly like that, but I'm being shown myself. And if I get upset by however he ever reacted, then that's why I'm gonna get upset, because I'm truly seeing myself, but I don't want to ignore. No, I wouldn't do that. No, I'd never treat someone like, no, I respect, no, I have reasons, defenses, whatever. So I didn't know when I broke my legs, both legs in 2009. I felt that it was actually a very healing experience, and it was really the start of my shift. This shift, but who knows how long it's been taking. But I knew that it was something spectacular, and when I came back, I didn't plan on this. Why I've even said this? I told my therapist, and I don't know why, but I said, I am open and willing. And at that time, I was probably had a little bit of openness and willingness. But I am that I am. And only the mind thinks I am not that. I can't do that. I feel differently, whatever, think differently. We are. And look, what is it, my particular teaching? It's hard to go on, but it's everything. Songs, books, classes. I mean, I was told when I was like 10, you can learn something from everything, even if it's how not to be, that you want to choose something else. 8 or 10, I don't know what it was. I was fairly young, but we're always supported and guided. And it doesn't seem in the form, it doesn't seem like that's happening right now, but it could be way worse. I knew a friend of David's spent $75,000 on fixing his house. I'm not going to do that. So I am grateful. I'm very grateful for this experience, and every experience was just gently leading me to the awareness of love's presence in every experience. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Carla. Only the form is different. Who else would like to share what they got from this section? Go ahead, Billy Joe.
So what stood out for me in section 3 specifically, it was so interesting you started there. It says, God's Son is guiltless, and in his innocence is salvation. Guiltless. Wow, what would that feel like? I really struggle with that, because even knowing everything is grace, sometimes it's hard to see it that way. And then when I catch myself not seeing it that way, I feel guilty because I did it. So like getting to that place of acceptance and grace for yourself is for me personally, is such a hard place to get to. So it really is, it almost seems unattainable. So, yeah, that really stuck with me. And just knowing that all of it is grace, and then trying to act like that it isn't, is the thing, right? Like, just it's all grace, and not feeling guilty about when we get hung up, So trying to get there, you know. And Carla said, I mean, what she said, just to kind of like, there's so much richness in what she was talking about. And I feel like last week I watched all of you have the conversation. There was so much poignantness for me, and even just what Carla's saying. So I'm just, grateful too for this and this opportunity. But I would like to have more less guilt. Let's just put it that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Billy Joe. I know for myself, I mean, I'm still working on the guilt. Guilt has been like my number one focus and goal is guiltlessness for this year. Was like at the beginning of the year, that was part of my contract for the year. And I feel like the way that I am getting there is more and more often when I'm feeling guilty, I look at what I'm feeling guilty about as if it was somebody else that did it, somebody that I love. I try and pick somebody specific so I can look at them and say, okay, if my friend Sue did this same thing, would I judge her and make her wrong and bad, or would I just love her through it? And that's how I'm getting to be more compassionate with myself around that, because well, like Carla was talking about this, the kitten that we adopted on Sunday. Obviously I still had guilt around what happened with the last one that we adopted a couple months ago, that like he was so sick less than 24 hours after I brought him home. And then we ended up having to euthanize him. And it was really traumatic experience. It was so hard because we lost my longtime companion in February this same year. And so I was finding myself not able to enjoy this new kitten because I was so freaked out about, oh my God, is he sleeping too much? Oh my God, is he not eating? Like, is he going to be sick? Like, I called the vet first thing Monday morning to make his appointment. You're supposed to make an appointment within 30 days. Luckily, they couldn't see me until Monday, because I know I need to learn this lesson, that I am guiltless, that what I know to be true in my heart about how that kitten chose me so that I could make that decision for him and love him as deeply as I did in that short period of time that we got to know each other. So I don't need to feel guilty, and I don't need to be afraid to love this kitten, because he is just a delight. So yeah, that's how I'm learning. Like, if any of you ever adopted a kitten or animal of any kind and it had to be euthanized within the week, I would never judge you. And it just, like, who was I being special about that? Anyway, yeah, that's how I'm learning how to not judge myself, how to not feel guilty, how to love myself more.
Thank you for that. That's so helpful.
Yeah.
Truly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Get it as someone else, because we tend to be so much harder on ourselves.
Yeah.
Someone that you love or care about. So
yeah.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Billy Joe. Gwen. And then Leslie.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head for me, talking about guilt. And when in my instance, here's some blame. I'm just recuperating from COVID. And, I was in this experience and I was just shaking my head because a lot of things have been happening. My daughter lived with me. She's moved out, still has some things here, but so that's, there's still complications with all that thing, but nonetheless, she's moving forward. And I got COVID a couple of weeks ago, and I was just like, oh my God, blame, blame, blame. Like, I don't think I would have gotten this if she hadn't been staying with me. And then it came to my awareness, and I was thinking, when she was here, I had a lot of time I spent talking about that whole situation and dwelling on that upset and how it's really disrupted everything and all the issues with her. And I thought, interesting. Perhaps I created that within my own self, dwelling on the negative with her and being stressed, and that could have certainly lowered my immunity because I was so stressed. And so then I started blaming myself. Oh, you did it to yourself, Gwen. It wasn't Rose. It wasn't anybody else. But then, I'm like, okay, just surrendered to, okay, I've had COVID. I haven't felt well. I'm lucky I didn't get, a bad case, but it's just not bouncing back like I wanted to. And I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity to be an observer of my experience, which I seem to do quite readily, and not blame her, not blame me, and try to get rid of any of that blame game. So thank you for sharing that, because that just brought that to light for me.
Thank you, Gwen. I'm glad you're recovering. I'm sorry you got COVID. Oh my goodness. Leslie, and then Hamira, if she can still speak.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you, Billy Joe. It's interesting. It's almost like we don't have a choice but to feel guilty, because we had that tiny mad idea that we decided that we needed to separate from God. And in so doing, we think that God is mad at us and wants to punish us. And we feel guilty for having that mad idea. So I'm learning that more and more from Cindy Renard's her second book, Something About Forgiveness. And she talks about that a lot in that book. And just if we can just remember that when we're feeling guilty, okay, this is a moment I'm feeling guilty because there's only one problem in the world. And that is that we think we separated from God, but we didn't. So there's nothing to forgive and there's nothing to feel guilty about. So, and goodness, Linda, I would hope you don't feel guilty about that little kitten. I mean, what would have been really awful to make that poor little thing suffer for longer. So it's tough. It's not easy. Excuse me, and I was a few minutes late coming on the call. I apologize. So forgive me if you already read this part, Linda. I know we tend to be on the same page. It's paragraph 3 towards the end, starting at sentence 7. It does not matter who the teacher was before he heard the call. He has become a savior by his answering. And this is a line I really liked. He has seen someone else as himself. He has therefore found his own salvation in the salvation of the world. And his rebirth is the world reborn. And I just really like that sentence, that he has seen someone else as himself, because I think when we can do that, it just makes forgiveness so much easier. And I just want to share a little experience I had yesterday. It's kind of a long story. I won't give you guys all the details, but I had a little tiff with my boss and I was really irritated with her. And when I went in Monday morning yesterday, because I'm very sensitive, I can always tell, I'm very, I can feel the vibe in the room. I can feel the energy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's mad at me too, and not even thinking that. I was just seeing myself, but I just really thought she was mad at me. So I called my mom on my lunch hour and she's like, just remember, don't take it personal. That's the number one thing. Don't take it personal. Because I sent her this really sweet email and she didn't respond back, So when I got back from lunch, we're doing we're cleaning out this big storage unit. So there's like hundreds of these boxes, but anyway, I had like 3 big boxes to take out, just go through the papers. And so I just kept doing a whole opponent for an hour. I'm sorry. I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Please, I just kept saying it over and over and over for like an hour. And then I go back up to my computer and I never sent the email. It was in my draft folder. So it's like, I got myself all upset. I never sent the email. And then later that day, she's being so sweet to me and so nice. And I'm like, okay, did I change my perception here? Or did she change? And then I'm like, we're all the same. We're the same. And I think my whole opponent changed my attitude. So then I probably was more loving towards her. And we have a great relationship. We love each other. Just sometimes we bump heads, because we both want to be right. But isn't it interesting? I didn't send the email. And here I'm getting all upset because she didn't respond to my email. It was so sweet and so nice. And, I didn't send it. But that line just, if I could just see myself as someone else, is just like, it's so hard to explain, but I felt like I was Genevieve at that moment. You know what I mean? It was just like and that whole opponent for an hour, it just like totally shifted my mood. It wasn't I wasn't specifically saying it to her, but it was just in general, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Rip another box. Do it. I feel like I did it 100 times. It was a very powerful experience. Highly recommend it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Leslie. I have done that before too, where you get so upset because somebody doesn't respond to you and then you realize you didn't send what you thought you sent. Oh my God. Yep, we're one. Yeah, I started with paragraph 3. Of course I did. And then Carla read something from paragraph 3 too. So yeah, we're all on the same wavelength.
So did I read anything new or not?
I read the whole paragraph.
Oh, okay.
Carla read something different. You read something different from it. So yeah, we got the whole paragraph covered. It was a really powerful one. So
It was.
Yeah. Thank you. Hamira, did you wish to share? I'm not sure. There you
Sure, Linda. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody. Thank you. Yeah, Leslie, we can't hear it enough. So even if it's been read, it's one of those things. I think repetition is so helpful. Yeah, I wanted to read paragraph 1, and then I wanted to share something with you guys. So it says, a teacher of God is anyone who chooses to be one. His qualifications consist solely in this. Somehow, somewhere, he has made a deliberate choice in which he did not see his interests as apart from someone else's. Once he has done that, his road is established and his direction is sure. A light has entered the darkness. It may be a single light, but that is enough. He has entered an agreement with God, even if he does not believe in him. He has become a bringer of salvation. He has become a teacher of God. So I don't know when and where I made this decision, but clearly I'm here, right? I'm with you guys. So sometimes I wonder about whether I am, but I do believe we all are. We all are teaching. What are we teaching, at every moment? And yesterday, I'm not proud of what I was teaching. Yesterday, I've been very overwhelmed, as I think I've shared with you guys. I have 2 jobs. I help out my family a lot, and one of the people that I help with as far as financially is my nephew, my brother's son. And God bless him, he's such a good kid. He's such a good kid. He's in school, he's working, he's getting really good grades. He's very much of a analytical thinker, which I wish he wasn't, because he's very much like me, too much analysis, But anyway, he got into a small accident recently and we took care of that. I paid for his car insurance. We took care of that. And then he was driving a car that I had given him. It's an older car and it had some issues. And I'd said, Augie, his name is August. I call him Augie. I said, Augie, please don't go on the freeway. And sure enough, he went on the freeway, it got stuck, and he, and I found myself saying things like, I said, Augie, don't go on I was just bashing him, instead of just being that, okay, he made the mistake. God knows I made 1,000 mistakes when I was his age. I remember I burned my engine one time because I didn't change the oil forever, so I've done so, and I was just, having such high expectations of him. And it goes back to that feelings of guilt, feelings of, fear. And those are the two things that come up with me that I've been working on too, is this feeling guilty all the time and blaming myself. And, when you're in that place, you blame others too. So it's not just you blame yourself, you project it. So, of course I did, make amends, and I told him I love him and he was fine, and we all make mistakes. But I just would love to save time and not have to go and make amends, like just do it the right way the first time. So just wanted to share that with you guys. And also I just found it interesting in this, who are the teachers of God. I love that how in this course, it never says this is the only way. It says there are thousands of ways to get there, and this is one of them. I think that's so inviting for anybody that reads this. So I just wanted to point that out too. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamira. Yeah, and isn't it great that Augie could learn in this way instead of something that could have been way worse, and you could learn in your way.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the whole thing with the kitten. I know I keep harping on that. It's because it's right in front of me. The 2 weeks ago when I got to meet little TS, the vet tech asked me how long ago it had been since my tigger passed away, because I guess this panleukopenia bacteria can live on surfaces for over a year. And it had only been since February, but like we got rid of all the carpet in the house. I mean, we cleaned really well. And I cleaned really well again after Phoenix. And so, when she first said it, of course I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is not my fault. That was my ego, obviously, with the head bobbing, she's the drama queen. But that thought again popped in my mind, Hamira, when the guilt and the fear started coming in Sunday night and Monday. That was just yesterday. Holy cow. Time really is an illusion. Of wanting to blame her for my fear, wanting to blame the vet tech for my fear. And I'm like, dude, she just was doing her job. Get over yourself. You're the one that's torturing yourself with these words. So just get over yourself and just learn to let it go and to enjoy the kitten. So, yeah.
Yeah, Linda, I'm noticing more and more how the mind, I still make the mistake, but I'm so noticing and aware of, I'm projecting this. This is totally my stuff. It's not about them. And I'm totally putting it on them so that I feel less guilty, but it actually makes you feel more guilty
Right.
when you do that. So it's not a
Yeah.
good solution.
Yep, that's the insanity of the ego, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, thank you. Grace.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the sharing. I can feel everybody's vibration is up there through the roof. It's amazing. We're all learning fast. So once I had a little accident with a newborn baby when I was here last time, and I was frightened. I knocked her. I managed to stop myself on the couch. But I had such an attack of guilt. I thought I had caused the baby's death. I honestly did. And I had a whole night of not sleeping. And I talked to Kiran J the next morning. And she explained to me that when we feel terrified like that, we're getting close to how we all feel inside, that we imagine that we had separated from God, killed God, God's going to get his revenge on us. So that's just a taste of the fear we are all holding inside of us. Okay, and sorry about that. Oh yeah, so something happened to me last week, and I had bought some glasses, some eyeglasses, and one of them I had damaged badly. So I went into the store to see if they could repair them for me, and they said, well, you've bought insurance on one pair of glasses, but not on this pair. I go, that doesn't make sense that I would only insure one pair of glasses. Doesn't matter, they were immovable. And I suddenly felt my mean me, very nasty me, come to the surface. And I said something to the effect of, oh, you must be so glad then that that pair of glasses isn't insured. I don't know what happened to me. How could I even imagine saying that to a poor shop assistant? And I just felt so guilty. I knew as I was saying it, that is so mean and that's not you. And why are you doing that? Anyway, so that guilt came up for me as well. But fortunately, I just, first of all, I managed to apologize to her. And then as soon as I left the shop, I did a Opono, and that her Opono just works so well and so quickly that now I don't hang around with guilt that often. And if I do, it's like a minute. But still, it showed me, yeah, you're not so spiritual as you make out. You're still doing crap. Watch it. Pay attention.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. It's so good that we're minding the gap, and the gap is getting shorter and shorter. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. Kathleen.
Yeah, I was just sitting here and I have a milkweed plant over in the corner that I brought in because I had 3 chrysalises on it. I mean, 3 caterpillars on it, and I didn't want the lizards to get them. So I just looked over there and it was going into chrysalis. So that's why I had to leave and go over there and film it. Took about 4 minutes. It's the first time I've ever seen it happen in person. So exciting. Anyway, I'll put it on one of the threads, maybe this one, maybe the WhatsApp. Yeah. But I just love this, every single word in this section. And I've read it over and over, and it just makes me feel so good that we are cooperating, because it takes cooperation and it takes more than one person. God wants us to, come together with at least one other person before we can come together with everybody. And in these groups, we're coming together to study the course and to be teachers of God. And it just makes me feel good, because I think, well, maybe I should take classes to learn how to facilitate a group, or maybe I should become a spiritual counselor. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to. So then I just read this again. I'm like, oh, I'm still a teacher of God, even if I'm doing it in my mind with other people, when we join minds together, when we pray, or that we're coming together in these groups and studying how to shorten time for everyone. That last paragraph, time with its illusions of change and death wears out the world and all things in it. It just kind of seems like the world is worn out to me, Uh-oh. Oops. Oh, it's okay. I thought a caterpillar fell. No, it's a branch. Anyway, it makes me feel upbeat and positive when I listen to everybody and all the changes they're making, and and trying to let go of guilt and the terror we all feel inside. I remember being on a rafting trip on a class 5 river in upper Klamath River in California, and there was a hole in our raft, and getting popped out of the raft, boink, and going into the water and thinking, oh yeah, I got to get my feet going downstream because that's what you're supposed to do. And the water was just going like this over and over. There's no way I could turn around. And then all of a sudden people picked me up and put me back in the raft. And the whole thing must have lasted like a minute. And I was screaming. And all I could think of was, oh, my inside terror is finally being matched by the outside, Finally, people can see how terrified I really am. And I've screamed at other times. It's awful, but it also just feels real. So anyway, it's just I'm really glad we're studying the manual for teachers. And I'll put the amazing chrysalis transformation on WhatsApp. Except my hands going like this. I'm trying to hold a squat, on my knees or like, but whatever. It's still good. Thanks.
Thank you for that, Kathleen. I mean, first of all, thank you for the whole, all the caterpillar care that you do, and to share that, because I have never seen it either. I mean, I've seen a bunch of butterflies emerge from a chrysalis. I've never seen a caterpillar become the chrysalis. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I can so relate to that sense of terror and that like blood curdling scream. I feel like it lives in every single one of us. Which is, again, I have said this so many times in the last week, why I absolutely love the practice of the Maori called haka, where they are like pounding on their chests and, oh, I mean, they're making these guttural sounds. It is so powerful. They do it for weddings. They do it for funerals. To me, it completely embodies the outpouring of our emotions that people never feel like they get to express and are not witnessed. But as soon as you said that, Kathleen, it was like, I wanted to cry, because I know that terror, I know that feeling of, if I start crying or if I start screaming, I'm never going to stop. I've experienced that.
Yeah, when I was going through that year with Paul, I went over to Costco and he called me and he said, I'm going to ER. And I said, you can't go to the ER. And I just started screaming in the middle of Costco. So
yeah. Oh,
talk about getting attention. Woo.
yeah.
Guard came over. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, okay, I'm okay. All right, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes we just need to scream.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why, for me, when I was a working stiff out in the world and I used to have a job that I had to drive to, that was my practice, was Ho'oponopono in traffic, because especially when the first time my mother was diagnosed with cancer, it's like, you have no effing idea what people are going through on any given day. You have no idea. So if somebody cuts you off, if somebody forgets to use their turn signal, give them a break, because it could be something that intense that they're experiencing. And all you have to learn is how to love through somebody not using their turn signal or cutting you off in traffic. Yeah. Grace, did
Linda, what was that practice you said that they pound on the chest? What
it's called haka. I think it's Haka, and it's the Maori people of the native people in, not New Zealand.
Yeah.
It is New Zealand. Okay.
New Zealand.
I'm like,
I
is
love
it Australia? Is it New Zealand? I'll post a video on
I
our
would
website.
love that.
Yeah,
Thank
because
you.
it is so incredibly powerful to me. I mean, if you're looking at it for the first time, it can make you laugh because it's that uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
But if you try it, if you get an opportunity to try it and to have that, make that guttural noise as loud as you possibly can, it's so liberating. So liberating.
Yeah, when you said that, it just felt like that's also a missing link in the practices, because I think, at least for me, I use spiritual truths like even the Ho'oponopono or, a prayer to not feel, to just want to go get to the, and you can't do a bypass. You have to do the feelings too.
Yeah.
So they go together. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, Linda, I just wanted to remind you, sorry, that you need to go.
Holy crap, I do need to go. Thank you. Mitzi, would you like to share quickly?
Okay, I will. I will just say that sometimes well, I was really encouraged by this sentence. His qualifications consist solely in this. Somehow, somewhere, he has made deliberate choice in which he did not see his interest as apart from someone else's. And once he has done that, his road is established and direction is sure. So that gave me a lot of hope, because I can see myself projecting sometimes, but sometimes I just want other people not to, I just want them to know my pain.
Yeah.
And that stumps me from being compassionate to their pain in that moment, because it is also my pain.
Yeah.
And I resist acknowledging their pain because I'm stuck in my ego wanting my pain
Yeah.
to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
And not, and so having an opportunity to fall out of a boat and scream, or
Yeah.
get lost in the wilderness or something like that is a way sometimes for me to fall apart, so that I can be put back together.
Yeah.
But I find that resistance, and then sometimes it brings resentment too. And then I feel really guilty. Then I have an extra heaping, of guilt from that, because on another level, or even at the same time, I really know that is it's the opposite of what is going to be best for me and them.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's a clinging to that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say that. Thank you. I
Yeah.
tuned in a little late. I know where you're going, but thank you for
Yeah.
a moment.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, Mitzi, because I've had that same experience. It's like we're punishing ourselves on top of the punishment that we're already giving ourselves. So yeah. So I do have to go early. I apologize, but I'm gonna next week we will do section 2 in Manual for Teachers, which is who are their pupils. And they're short, but obviously we have a lot to say about what we are learning in this section, in this part of the text, or the Manual for Teachers, whatever it's called, right? Okay, so I'm going to read the Pathways of Light insights for my lesson for today, which is 291. This is a day of stillness and of peace. Stillness and peace are our natural condition. They describe the state in which we were created. The chaos, confusion, and conflict of this world are the effect of believing in the illusion that we are separate from our creator, our source. We can return to our natural condition by simply giving up our belief in what could never be. Belief makes experience. If we believe that we are separate, we experience all the effects, all the fear and guilt that come with believing we are separate. This need not be. We experience this world of separation because we chose it. But in any moment, we can choose differently. We need only recognize that this world truly offers us nothing that we really want. It seems insane that we would choose a world of pain and suffering. And it is insane, but in our insanity, we do not recognize that we are choosing pain and suffering. We think we are choosing independence, individuality, and control of our lives, which can be summed up as choosing specialness. In our insanity, we do not realize that in choosing to be separate from our source, which is our strength and our life, we are choosing weakness and death. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I don't want to be late for my appointment, but I will post it in our group. Thank you, everybody, for everything that you shared today. I love you so much. And thank you, Billy Joe, for joining us. Hope to see you again. Bye for now, everyone. Much love.